What the fuck? Bologna, man.
Hey.
What the fuck? What the fuck happened, man? Where's the new video? What are you doing?
Hey, 3 fans, man, they took everything from me. They even took my monitor.
This is Bologna's monitor.
Like, who the fuck took my monitor? Why do you want a widescreen monitor? What the fuck is wrong with you? Well, anyway, you know, they took everything, and like all the comments, man, they fucking like down, bro. Like, come on, like those widescreen comments, like this one or that one. It's like it gets to your fucking head, man. It's just like, fuck, dude. Okay, I need to clear my mind of something. You know, the widescreen comments, man, they just got to me. Hold on, there's a dumpster here. What?
Well, what do you want to do with the dumpster, man?
I know that is like a dumpster. It smells. It gets trashed pretty often. It has bad vinyl stakes. Meatful Men, bro. I can just upload it to the channel.
Yeah, there you go, man.
Well, now I need to get out wherever the fuck I am.
Yeah, well, how did you end up like this?
Payday 3, man. All those fans just killed me, bro.
They killed you? Shit.
This is my home.
How did you live, man?
I just eat people. I kill hookers. I eat them. What about you? Let's go record in the Denny's.
Yeah, come on, yeah, dude, yeah.
Yep, that's right. I'm stuck in the middle of the woods thanks to Payday 3 fans. Well, at the very least, I thought I would get you guys out with a good review. So that's why today I'm going to be talking about Left 4 Dead 1 and 2. Left 4 Dead is a series that I think everybody knows at this point. If you don't, are you living under a rock? I'm living in a dumpster, so I can't really say I'm any different, but while we, you know, get out of the forest, let's talk about Left 4 Dead 1. This is everything about Left 4 Dead in a series retrospective.
So, where'd you get the hat? I don't remember you having a hat last time.
It's a touching story, filled with boobs, slightly hairy men, 2 banger women, and a redneck truck driver. What other story to talk about than Left 4 Dead?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Shut the fuck up. Left 4 Dead has quite a interesting development history, so let's jump right into it. The concept of Left 4 Dead had its origins in a mod created by Turtle Rock Studios for Counter-Strike Condition Zero, which they were co-developing with Valve at the time. This mod, named Terror Strike, saw 4 players assigned as terrorists with the goal to plant a bomb and then defend it from unending waves of counter-terrorists. Turtle Rock were also the co-developers of Counter-Strike Source, in which they refined the mod, refining the assets to make it a more horror-themed experience, and have the players fight off zombies. Turtle Rock had attempted to get Valve to publish Terror Strike as its own game, but did not gain any traction until Valve writer Chet Flazik discovered the project and championed it to Valve CEO Gabe Newell. Both versions of Terror Strike from Condition Zero and Source were eventually released to the internet in 2023. With Valve's approval, development on Left 4 Dead started in mid-2005 and grew significantly larger after Flazik became lead of the project from Valve's side, bringing in over 100 Valve employees to help expand production. To give Left 4 Dead significant exposure, Valve financed a $10 million marketing campaign for the game in the United States and Europe, with advertisements appearing on television, print, websites, and outdoor placements in many cities. Valve also hosted photo contests called Dude, Where's My Thumb?, offering copies of Left 4 Dead to people who submitted the best picture involving zombies or the outdoor advertising. Left 4 Dead uses the 2008 version of Valve's Source engine with multiple improvements such as a multi-core processor support and physics-based animation to more realistically portray hair and clothing. Animation was also improved to allow characters to lean realistically when moving in curved paths. Rendering and artificial intelligence were also scaled up to allow for a greater number of enemies who can navigate the world in better ways, such as climbing, jumping, or breaking obstacles. Lighting was enhanced with new self-shadowing normal mapping and advanced shadow rendering that is important to convey information about the environment and player actions. Wet surfaces and fog are used to create mood. Many kinds of post-processing cinematic visual effects inspired by horror movies have been added to the game, and there is a dynamic color correction that details based on importance. Left 4 Dead underwent many phases of development. influenced by playtesting. Turtle Rock removed many of the features that were originally in the game. In early development, there was another special infected. The special infected in the game are as follows: Boomer, Smoker, Tank, and Hunter. That's it. Oh, and the Witch. Can't forget about that. But there's going to be another special infected, the Screamer, which had no attacks, but upon spotting a survivor would run into a safe place and then emit a loud scream that attracted a horde of infected. This infected was removed, but its ability to attract the horde was incorporated into the Boomer's vomit, and the scream was reused for the Hunter pounce. A persistent merit/demerit system was envisioned to provide positive feedback for good behavior, such as aiding a fallen teammate, and negative feedback for poor behavior, such as shooting a teammate. This would provide a score to rank a player's effectiveness as a teammate, but this system was removed late into the development of the game in favor of a more immediate, non-persistent feedback displayed in-game in the form of the leaderboard system at every level. Another significant element removed was the long introduction between campaigns, because the game is designed for replayability. It was difficult to hold the player's attention for repeated viewings of cutscenes, so they were dropped in favor of a sparse narrative. In early development, the game began with a big city level with many routes for the survivors, but playtesters were confused when they began to play. They always chose the later campaigns that, well, had the same route. Ultimately, Turtle Rock Studios cut the city maps into the first No Mercy and Dead Air campaigns. Certain Affinity assisted Turtle Rock Studios with the Xbox 360 version of the game. The Xbox 360 version of Left 4 Dead has the same game modes as the PC version, but has additional features such as support for split screen, allowing two players to play offline and online from the same console, and system link play. Split screen can also be achieved on PC version, but it requires console commands and may require the modification of controller configuration files, and it's not officially supported. Both versions of the game have a new matchmaking system to simplify the process of finding other players. This server management system was met with negative reaction from PC server operators, who, with the system, had very little control over their servers. This led to Valve releasing a series of patches that allowed server operators to remove their server from the matchmaking pool of servers or make private servers. Valve runs dedicated servers for both the versions of the game to this day. The reception of this game was insane. Promotion was off the hook. The game was first revealed in the Christmas of 2006 publication of PC Gamer UK with a 6-page article describing a playthrough at Turtle Rock Studios headquarters. A teaser was released with the orange box, and the game was first playable at the Showdown 2007 LAN in San Jose and at QuakeCon 2007. They announced it on November 20th, 2006, and because of the game and long-standing relationship between the companies, the game opened up to pre-purchasing on Valve's Steam system on October 15th, 2008. Early access to the Left 4 Dead demo for people who pre-ordered the game began on November 6, 2008 for both Windows and Xbox 360. It gave users access to both online and single-player play in 2 scenes in 1 movie within the game. This promotion was being offered in addition to 10% savings for those who pre-order, and applies to all Steam Windows pre-orders and all Xbox 360 pre-orders from GameStop and EB Games in North America. On November 11th, the Left 4 Dead demo was made available to all users from Steam and Xbox 360 gamers worldwide, and the Left 4 Dead demo was removed off the Xbox 360 marketplace and Valve's own Steam after the game's release on October 18th, 2008. However, it is still available for those who played it. The demo had many server problems when it launched, primarily Valve's strategy for server management, which made it impossible to set up a dedicated private server with administrator controls. However, a stream of patches in the demo led to the availability of a server browser and basic private server functionality, as well as Valve's acknowledgement of player concerns. It appears that a patch released just before the game itself has resolved many of the connection issues that the demo players were having. On May 1st, 2009, the game was released freely via Steam as a 1-day trial called Freaky Friday. The trial was then extended on that Saturday. The release of that Left 4 Dead is great. Left 4 Dead went gold on November 13th, 2008, and was released on November 18th, 2008 when the demo shut down in North America, and then in November 21st, 2008 in Europe, to coincide with the 10th anniversary of Half-Life. Valve released a server patch in December 2008 to stop players on Xbox Live from using PC-style cheats. On February 5th, Valve released details about upcoming DLC packs. On February 11th, 2009, Valve announced that the downloadable content of the game would be free for both the 360 and PC, and on April 21st, it was released to the public. Survival mode shipped with 16 maps, 15 of them being modified portions of existing maps, and one being a new lighthouse theme level titled The Last Stand. This would later be released as a campaign on Left 4 Dead 2. A Game of the Year edition of Left 4 Dead was released on PC and Xbox 360 on May 12, 2009, with updates and new content included on the disc. The game was a hit. people loved it, including me. I love this game. So let's just talk about 3 major things here. We're going to be talking about the gameplay, the style, and the versus mode. You know, we'll throw in survival mode there too. We're going to talk about all the game modes in this game and how they play. So let's get into it. Starting with campaign, or just the basic gameplay. So here's how we're going to do it. I'm going to rank every campaign from start to finish in this game on a scale of 1 to 5. 5 being the best of the best, 1 being the worst of the worst. So, first off, the campaign. What is it? So, campaign in Left 4 Dead, every single campaign, by the way, is staged as a movie. It involves at least 4 sections, up to 5, of different levels that are linear. These levels have an ending with horde events in the middle of them that summon the horde, and special infected that also appear halfway through the level, or well, not halfway, just sprinkled in every now and then. The campaign itself is great. You have Bill, Francis, Lewis, and Zoey. Bill is an old war veteran. Lewis is a office worker. He's just the bald black dude. Francis, who is a biker, and then Zoey, which all these characters have lore. I couldn't tell you it though, so I'm not gonna act like I know it. Let's just jump right into the campaign. The first campaign, No Mercy. The first campaign is No Mercy. No Mercy, I'm going to put at a 4 out of 5, and here's why. No Mercy is the perfect first level in any Left 4 Dead game. Your objective, to get over to Mercy Hospital to get evac. An amazing concept, and a hospital setting in a game always intrigued me, especially with a zombie kind of aesthetic. This is supposed to mimic a horror movie. Well, every campaign is supposed to mimic a horror movie, and they do it great in this. It really feels like you're in a movie, but with like brain dead actors. The first level, like I said, takes place in an apartment complex where you, the player, have to make your way down to the street, into the subway, and take the subway to Mercy Hospital. The first level is great. It has a lot of enemies, and the special infected make it so every turn in this level is something to be afraid of. This also introduces car alarms, which if you shoot the car alarm, it'll summon the horde. And the horde sound is iconic in this. Oh man, it sends shivers down my spine. I love it. I love it. The objective of every single campaign is to get to the safe room and get to the finale. The second level takes place in the subway station, and it is a fucking scary ass level if you were me back in 2009. This level scared me, man. And it also introduces the next big feature, horde events. Sometimes in the level you have to progress by pressing a button, blowing something up, just making loud noise. You ever wanted to like go around and just scream in your lawn, but you couldn't because your intrusive thoughts won't win? Well, in this game, your intrusive thoughts can win. If you want to shoot the car alarm or press the button when we're not fucking ready, why would you do that? So this summons the horde and you have to hold out in order to progress the level. These break up the level and the gameplay pretty good. I'd say it is a good idea. It was a great idea because it's still fast paced and it allows you to learn the guns of the game. The guns in the game are as follows: Uzi, pistols, shotgun, auto shotgun, M16, hunting rifle, and well, that's it. Not much to go there, but all these guns have their own benefits and all do a certain amount of damage. The third level takes place in the streets heading to Mercy Hospital, where you have to go cut through a warehouse and the sewers to get to the hospital. The sewers are great. I've always wanted to go down to a sewer, but I'm just too much of a pussy to do it. What if I just step on a needle, or what if a homeless man jumps me? Regardless, the sewers in this game are perfect. They're dark, combined, and if you don't know the route, it can prove quite a challenge. This brings you up to the hospital, where you go in through the main lobby into the hospital itself, where your objective is to get up to the rooftop. This is achieved by another horde event, an elevator, and the intricate design of the hospital itself is actually great for the game's aesthetic. It's meant to be a place where everything is broken down and destroyed. It's the ground zero for the outbreak, and you can clearly see it, with bodies lining the halls and zombies with ass cheeks out. Oh my god. And what can I say? It's a hospital. But you know what? I've always loved hospitals in these types of games. In any zombie movie or game. Just the aesthetic, the sterile aesthetic being ruined by blood and viscera and all this other stuff just makes me feel creeped out. And the Left 4 Dead hospital level 4, is great. You take the elevator up to the rooftop and the finale. You have to summon the helicopter, News Chopper 5 man, who in the seat is that Tucker Carlson. He doesn't actually have a name, but you do the finale, and this is the highlight of every Left 4 Dead campaign, the make it or break it moment. How good is the finale? The finale is usually consisted of you pressing a button and holding out until your rescue is ready, whether it be waiting for a helicopter, waiting for a boat. You have to wait, and there's nothing more annoying than slow-paced action, but Left 4 Dead nails it with its finales, with No Mercy being the most iconic one. When I think Left 4 Dead 1, I think No Mercy, and this level, its finale is great. It takes place on a rooftop, you get a minigun, and you fight off tanks in between rounds. You get in the chopper, and, well, let's just say it didn't go well. With the next campaign, Crash Course. Oh, Crash Course. How I wanted you to be a good campaign. See, I gave Crash Course a 2.5 just because it's not bad, but it isn't good. See, Crash Course is only 2 levels. You have the first level and the second level. The second level is the finale, and it's meant to bridge the gap between No Mercy and Death Toll, a much better map in my opinion. See, Crash Course takes place right after No Mercy. He crashes the chopper because flying a helicopter is hard. Or he's just like, you know, me driving in a school zone going 80 miles per hour. This level has a it's fine, okay? It flows great. The problem I have with it is it's only 2 levels and it's mediocre as hell when it comes to the visuals. Imagine this. You go from the first campaign in the game, No Mercy, having a hospital, a sewer, you know, dark streets, and then you go to Crash Course, where, like, the coolest thing you do is you blow up something with a howitzer and drive a truck. Not to mention that half of the level is just warehouses, but the level itself isn't bad, mainly because the gunplay feels amazing. Problem with it is that it's completely sterile and it has no defining features besides warehouses and the truck. Albeit the finale in this game, or in this map, is pretty good. You just activate a generator, you lower down a truck, and you drive that truck. But another thing also is the movie aesthetic. The movie aesthetic in this map doesn't really feel right. It just feels a little bland, and that's why I'm giving it a 2.5. There's not much to talk about in this level, sadly, besides the howitzer. The howitzer is pretty cool, but most of this level is just boring warehouses, and that's about it. But I promise every level after this will be pretty good. The next one is Death Toll. Death Toll I'm going to put at a 4 out of 5 respectively, and mainly because of the aesthetics of the map. See, I like maps in Left 4 Dead 1 that are very open and nature explorative, this being one of them. And by nature explorative, I mean if there's trees, I fuck with it. The start of the map takes place with you going off the rails of your Crash Course vehicle and being stuck at a broken bridge. You then have to make your way through a series of sewage tunnels. This is gross. I mean, come on guys, I'm killing zombies and shit, there's blood everywhere and, you know, poop, but like, god, sewage tunnels, man, this is gross. And you have to raise the floodgate to summon the horde. After you make it through the sewage tunnels, you get to by far the best part of the map, and that is the town. See, the town is great, and while my time with it was short, I still had a good time going through the back alleys and back forests up to a church with the only case I could ever think of a survivor that actually turns, and you can see him turn. This man in the church right here, who I call Schizo Steve, decides to rant about how that they can't come in, and then they turn on the bell. If I couldn't describe that any worse, I couldn't have described it any worse. But this is the first time I've ever seen a Left 4 Dead game where the survivor in the safe house turns, and he turns into either a hunter, smoker, or boomer. And the campaign ends with you going into a boathouse and calling John and Amanda Slater, a fishing boat off the coast of Riverside. Riverside being the town name. And that's it. That's the campaign. It ends in a boathouse with a campsite, and it is just a beautiful map. Honestly, it's one of the top maps in my opinion. And the name itself is pretty cool too. Death Toll. You know what I like? Tolls. I'm just kidding. I'm fucking around with you. I don't like tolls, but I like Death Toll. So that's going to be putting it at a 4 out of 5. Fourth campaign in the series is Dead Air. You ever hate flying? Well, it could be a whole lot worse. Taking place right after Death Toll, it is unclear how they get up on this rooftop. Don't ask me. I don't know. Maybe the boat flew up in the air and crashed down on land or something. I don't know. Maybe SpongeBob was driving it or some shit. Regardless, you start up on the rooftops in a greenhouse in a big city, and you have to get to the Metro City Airport. Metro City, yep, Metro City. I don't know how much of a generic name you can get, but this map, my god, it's okay. This is probably the lowest rated campaign in the game, giving it a 2 out of 10. And here's why. Dead Air, while having one of the best settings for a zombie apocalypse in an airport, because, I mean, going through an airport already was bad enough. Imagine going through there with zombies. You ain't getting your luggage back either, boy. Bro, I'm just saying. You got more than like 3 ounces of liquid on you. Gotta go. Sorry. So it takes place in a city where you have to get to the airport to an airfield. The first level takes place in a greenhouse and has you go across rooftops to reach a pawn shop. All in all, this first level is pretty good. However, the second level, I don't know where to begin. Alright, so first off, I just want to specify this. This doesn't mean the map itself is bad. It's just my personal opinion on, compared to the rest of the game, this level, or this campaign I should say, is kind of weak. It takes place on another rooftop. This is like the 5th rooftop map in a row, but it's not aesthetically pleasing. You go through office buildings and apartment buildings until you reach Crane. You have to lower down this huge, conveniently placed dumpster with a ladder on the side to make it across, which takes you to an alleyway. A boring ass alleyway for the 3rd level. Really, I mean, like, you just take the alleyway down over to a electrical station, a construction site, over to the terminal. The terminal, however, is unique. It's the one level in the game where I can say I love the terminal. It's open, it feels desolate, there's not that much going on. The horde event is just you driving a van, and it's great. You go through the luggage area, and it really feels like an apocalypse hit, and that it's desolate. It's meant to just be dead and quiet, and it's creepy. It really is creepy going around the deserted hallways of a place that was once filled with many, many people. Too bad the airfield sucks. Really, the airfield is way too open. This is the hardest finale in the game, but that's what makes it good at the same time. See, I like the aesthetic. The plane crashing, the AC-130 that needs to be refilled, it's a badass way to end this level, and it's actually not that bad. The problem I have with it is it's way too open. See, I get it's supposed to be open. It's an airfield, but the amount of space that you have in this area is insane. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a personal gripe I have with it. It's way too open, and there's not enough space. It's weird. It's this in-between sect. The finale itself is meant to be hard, so maybe I'm just bad at the game. But overall, the aesthetic of Dead Air is awful at the start. But overall, this level is probably the lowest rank. That doesn't mean that we're gonna end this review on a bad level. Let's talk about my favorite campaign in this game, Blood Harvest. Let's fucking go. Yeehaw, fellas. We're going to the fields. Yee fucking So the next map, and canonically what was the original final map of the game, is Blood Harvest. Blood Harvest gets a solid 5 out of 5, and here is why. Farms. The campaign is amazing. It takes place throughout a wooded area. Unlike Death Toll though, this feels like you're in the middle of nowhere, following train tracks to get to a military installation. The first level takes you through the woods to go to the train station itself. After that, you follow the tracks through a tunnel and through a warehouse to continue following the tracks. There's a lot of trains in this, and no, Thomas the Tank Engine did not survive the apocalypse. I am sorry, Thomas Stans. He is dead. He is dead. But you follow the train tracks up to a farm. This farm, oh boy, it is the finale, and I love this farmhouse. If this farmhouse was a person, I would fuck it. A little on the nose there, but you know. So, farmhouse is the perfect survival map. You call the military, and the military is just like, oh my god, you're alive? What the hell? Whoa, and they come and pick you up and evacuate you. The entire aesthetic of Blood Harvest and the way the levels flow together is actually amazing. Sure, it's just you going through a bunch of train yards, but it feels like you're in the middle of nowhere. It nails the aesthetic of a farmland area. The farmhouse, while it's just a house, you can tell somebody lived in there and tried to hold out, and it actually adds a lot to the map. The rest of the map, though, is dark and wooded, making it one of the most difficult areas if you're playing Versus. But we're missing one more campaign, and and that is one that I will talk about right now. The Sacrifice. I'm just shoving this in right now. I don't like the Sacrifice. I don't. It's an important part of the story that Bill sacrifices himself for the original crew. As the generator goes out at the end of the campaign, rest in peace, Bill. Rest in peace. But the rest of the campaign, god damn, it's boring. You go around this port, it's just dark. There's 3 levels. It's just like Crash Course Part 2. And that's why I'm giving the Sacrifice 2 out of 5. This level is so boring, but it has an important part of the story. Most aesthetically pleasing part of this map, actually, is the tank in the train car. I found that pretty cool. And I always found it cool as a kid, too, that, you know, there's a tank in this train car. Like, what happened to him? Did he turn? We'll never know. But this map and this campaign overall is just a pain. If it wasn't for Bill sacrificing himself, I would have put this at a 1 out of 5. But Bill, live on, brother. Live on. And that wraps up the campaign of Left 4 Dead 1. We have one more thing to talk about here. As I said earlier, I would talk about the survival and versus mode. Instead, we're going to save that for Left 4 Dead 2, as the same maps are on versus and survival from Left 4 Dead 1, and the game is just more refined for Left 4 Dead 2, but more on that later. Instead, why don't we talk about the cut content of Left 4 Dead 1? There's quite a lot of cut content to the game that you wouldn't, you know, automatically assume is in the game, so let's talk about it more. Left 4 Dead 1 had quite a lot of cut content, including the survivors themselves. The survivors originally had very, very different designs, with Bill being the one that's closest and the rest being way off. Starting off with Bill underwent only small changes during development. The only differences in his beta appearance, shown here, to those who were finally used, are an olive drab colored hoodie, dog tags, a black military vest, and a longer beard and hair and some gloves. Personality-wise, he was paranoid about the fact that the survivors could turn into the infected, but these lines were subsequently cut, and I could not find any audio for it. Francis originally had long black hair with a beard and appeared overweight. His vest was denim instead of leather, and his original design was most likely used for the redesign of the Midnight Riders in Left 4 Dead 2. Lewis was very different in early development. Lewis had short, curly black hair, a thin beard with a goatee, and a bandage on his forehead. He wore a brown jacket plus a yellow undershirt and blue jeans. In early 2008, Valve added a bandolier with shotgun shells to his model, and a hood. His original backstory cast him as the manager of an electronics store, which may be a reference to the movie Shaun of the Dead, wherein Shaun manages an electronics store. Lewis and Bill's relationship was strained. They did not get along and often argued. Zoey's appearance underwent significant change during development. Zoey originally had longer hair, a pink hoodie, and different colors were tried, including yellow and blue, but there's no images of this. With an ammo chest webbing, tactical gloves, khaki brown baggy shorts, and white and reddish pink striped legging stockings. Boots with the logo Punks in the back and knee pads. Zoey's facial features were the last of the survivors to be finalized before their final iteration were more angular, and she looked like a young woman around 25 years old instead of teenage. She also had another voice actress. Her character was meant to have a more nascent romantic relationship with Francis. The last official appearance of the original survivors was at E3 2008. They were displayed in a trailer directly after Gabe Newell introduces the new survivors. They were also shown before this in the director examples. A large volume of dialogue was recorded for the survivors and NPCs that was subsequently cut from the game. Much of this dialogue still remains in the game files. Originally, Valve had the idea of accentuating the role of the new Chopper 5's pilot in No Mercy by casting him as an unwitting green flu victim undergoing change into an infected. The cut storyline had him asking for a first aid kit, saying that he was feeling unwell after attempting the dangerous move of rescuing some other survivors from the street. Shortly thereafter, he would state that he was very cold, began coughing, turned and became one of the infected, causing the helicopter to crash, thus beginning the beginning of death toll. However, this scenario was judged to be unsuitable and it was cut until Crash Course came. The survivor models have been re-added into the Left 4 Dead 2 workshop as part of a community update, and the models are also available for Left 4 Dead 1, ported unofficially. For the infected, a lot of skins of for the common infected were cut during the game's development, presumably to save on memory. These skins were later added to Left 4 Dead 2 as part of the Last Stand community update. The boomer originally was only going to cause simple damage to nearby players, since the horde attracting abilities were assigned to the cut infected, the only cut infected that ever was officially revealed, the Screamer. The Screamer would have acted as a common infected and would have held a position in the map, and if the player was in view of the Screamer would run away and scream into a corner. This would summon a horde. This was later cut, however, as they found that the Screamer was way too hard to actually catch up with. That was the reason why. But they gave the ability to the boomer. When the boomer's file was first added to the game, it was red, much like blood. However, it later was replaced by the green seen in the final version. The original texture of the boomer represented him with a white pale skin and more detailed veins. This exists on both his exploded models and his body model. The hunter has unused animations of him hanging upside down. It is unknown how this was supposed to be done in game, as no pre-release footage shows the hunter doing this. And the hunter also has an unused first-person animation, which can be seen by the player controlling it when he managed to pounce a survivor. It still remains in the game files of both Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, and with the use of third-party mods, can be partially restored. Originally, when a hunter pounced a survivor, there would be no red light around the victim, and the hunter's ability was originally invisibility. He performed this action when backed up against a wall. It could also regenerate health, but this was cut along the invincibility. During development, hunters could jump off their targeted survivor after a pounce by crouching, then lunging away. And the hunter's original texture was a dark blue hoodie, and his skin was more tan, with a visible goatee, while only his eyes had blood on them. The final texture has both blood on the eyes and mouth, making him more vicious and animalistic in appearance. The hunter in the beta stages of the game had the ability to lunge. The hunter did this when the player was controlling him. He would press mouse 1 without crouching. This was cut as it was too overpowered. However, the hunter still uses this ability in single player. It is still possible to use this ability by the use of the developer command console. The original purpose of the smoker was to sneak up on survivors in a cloud of smoke, seize any one of them, and pop out again to leave the unlucky survivor stranded. In early footage, the smoker seemed to have the ability to release pitch black smoke whenever he wanted to. If the survivors were near the smoker when he fired the smoke, they would have been pushed back as if they were hit by a smoker explosion. Originally, the smoker's tongue would drag a victim at a significantly faster rate, but the victim would still be able to fire at the smoker while they were being dragged. Instead of wrapping the tongue around the victim's torso, it would wrap around the victim's neck, and the smoker's tongue couldn't lift survivors above the ground. The smoker's smoke originally injured anyone who would make contact with it, similar to the spitter's acid, and the smoker used to be able to release its victim via secondary fire or turning away while survivor is being pulled. Now, while I would love to talk about every single small little detail, we will just talk about some of the biggest details. The witch originally was supposed to attack the entire group upon being startled. However, this was cut from the final game because it was deemed too difficult by Valve, as she would often wipe out the entire group with little trouble. And the witch was originally going to have a very different design, with black hair and black clothes instead of white hair and pale green clothes. In the sound files, there is sounds for a zombie dog. These were merely stock sounds that were never renamed to match what they were used for. People think they were going to be used for the hunter before release, meaning that there was never a zombie dog. Similar sounds can be heard in Silent Hill 3 on the monster Doublehead, which in itself is a zombie dog. The hunter also seems to have a voice menu taunt in which he growls. The response rule player zombie taunt exists, but the sound script is set and does not make any sound at all. So, we got one more change here, and this is the biggest change. Originally, Left 4 Dead was going to have upgrades for their guns. The one that's actually done is the laser sights, which came back in Left 4 Dead 2. Melee weapons were also supposed to be included sometime in development, but were cut for unknown reasons. Originally, you can lock doors to stop infected, and the last change to this game, there's a lot. There's 2 changes, actually. The cut campaign Damn It by Turtle Rock Studios, back when the game was called Terror Strike, and also an M249 was supposed to appear as a usable weapon, as evidenced by a few pieces on concept art. However, this is unconfirmed. The cut campaign Damn It was the only cut campaign in the series, and it was actually intended to be after No Mercy. However, it was cut due to Valve wanting to continue it after Crash Course. And that's all for Left 4 Dead 1. Wow, it's almost like it's got a lot of cut content. But that's only the beginning. Left 4 Dead 2 has a lot of cut content too. So, Left 4 Dead 2, let's talk about it. We're going to Tyson's cabin, but what did you think about Left 4 Dead 1?
Oh, yeah, dude. It was great, man. I wish there were more mods.
Yeah, I wish there were, you know, content, levels that didn't suck. But we can't get all that we want. So that's why I brought you out to Ted Kaczynski's cabin. I want to talk about the next game, Left 4 Dead 2. And what better place to do it than my humble abode. Look at this place. It's not abandoned, Ash. It's not. Watch.
Don't.
We do the classic knock test.